Nobody in Hendry County, Florida could figure out where the monkey came from. It showed up on a Tuesday in late September. A rhesus macaque, maybe 15 pounds, brown fur matted from living rough. First sighting was at the Collinsworth Feed Depot on Route 27, where it knocked over a display of mineral blocks and stole a bag of dried corn right off the loading dock. Broad daylight. Marla Collinsworth came out with a broom and the thing just sat on the roof of her truck and ate corn while staring at her. That was the beginning. Over the next 2 weeks, the monkey worked its way south through the county like a small furry hurricane, knocked over trash cans at the RV park, got into the dumpster behind the Dollar General, chased Hank Perdue's chickens until 3 of them stopped laying for a week, pulled laundry off Nita Baxter's clothesline, and dragged a bedsheet into a live oak tree where it hung like a surrender flag for days. Funny at first, the local Facebook group treated it like entertainment. Someone even started a page called Hendry County Monkey Watch, where people posted sightings and photos. Got 300 followers in a week. But the monkey wasn't funny for long. Rhesus macaques aren't native to Florida, but they aren't exactly rare either. A population has lived wild along the Silver River since the 1930s, descendants of animals released by a tour boat operator who thought they'd attract tourists. Over the decades, some dispersed. Wildlife officials estimated scattered individuals and small groups existed across Central and South Florida, though exact numbers were hard to pin down. This particular macaque was alone, no troop, no companions, and solitary macaques behave differently than social ones. They're more aggressive, more unpredictable, more desperate. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission got calls, but resources were thin. A single monkey in a rural county wasn't priority when they were dealing with python removal in the Everglades and bear conflicts up in Ocala. They told folks to secure garbage, don't feed it, call back if it becomes a safety issue. It became a safety issue on a Thursday morning at the Hendricks Ranch. Dale Hendricks ran 240 acres of improved pasture 12 miles south of Clewiston, running a mixed herd of commercial Brahman-cross cattle. 63 cows, 22 calves born that spring, 4 yearling heifers, and 1 bull. The bull was the center of everything. His registered name was something long that nobody used. Dale called him Jude. 1,200 kilograms of Brahman Angus cross, gray hide stretched over a frame that made visitors stop their trucks on the county road just to look. Standing nearly 6 feet at the shoulder with a hump that rose like a small mountain behind his head, Jude was the kind of bull that made other bulls look like large dogs. But size wasn't what made Jude different. Dale had owned bulls before, aggressive ones that charged at anything that moved, nervous ones that spooked at their own shadows, lazy ones that needed to be pushed toward the cows during breeding season. Jude was none of those things. Jude was aware. That was the only word Dale ever found for it. When a calf got tangled in fence wire, Jude would stand between the calf and the rest of the herd, keeping other animals from crowding the situation until Dale could get there to cut the wire. When a thunderstorm rolled across Lake Okeechobee and the herd got nervous, Jude would position himself at the edge of the group, facing the wind, steady as concrete. The cows would cluster behind him like he was a wall. Dale's wife, Connie, said it once at a cattleman's dinner and nobody argued with her. That bull thinks he's a shepherd. He doesn't act like he owns the herd. He acts like he's responsible for them. Jude was 11 years old, getting up there for a working bull. His joints were starting to show the wear. A little slow getting up in the mornings, a little stiff after a cold night, which in South Florida meant anything below 50 degrees. Dale had already started thinking about a replacement bull, though he couldn't bring himself to make the call yet. Because Jude wasn't just livestock, he was the reason Dale's calf crop survived 96% every year. He was the reason Dale hadn't lost a single animal to the coyote pack that worked the south fence line. He was the reason the herd moved as one unit, calm and organized, instead of scattering like most commercial herds do. Jude was the boss, and the herd knew it. The monkey showed up on Dale's property right around dawn. Connie saw it first from the kitchen window. She was making coffee and spotted movement near the calf pen. A small brown shape sitting on the top rail of the fence, watching the calves the way a fox watches a henhouse. Not hunting exactly, but interested. Dale. There's something on the calf pen fence. Dale looked out. What in the world? The monkey sat there for about 10 minutes watching. Then it dropped into the pen. Now, a 15-pound monkey isn't going to kill a calf. A spring calf weighs 250 pounds. There's no physical threat. But that's not how cattle see it. Cattle are prey animals. Their brains are wired to react to sudden movement, unusual shapes, unfamiliar creatures. A monkey moving fast and erratic through a group of calves is chaos. Pure chaos. The calves panicked. 8 calves in that pen hit the fence simultaneously, bawling, climbing over each other, slamming into the rails. 2 went down. 1 got a leg caught between fence boards. The monkey wasn't attacking them. It was just moving through the pen, grabbing at things, investigating, doing what monkeys do. But to the calves, it might as well have been a mountain lion. Dale ran out in his boots and boxers, grabbing a stock whip off the porch hook. By the time he got to the pen, the monkey was already gone. Up and over the fence into the live oak on the property line, watching from a branch with what Dale later described as amusement. Like it was enjoying the show. 1 calf had a strained shoulder from hitting the fence, another had scrapes along its side. The one with the caught leg was limping, but nothing was broken. Could have been worse. But Dale's hands were shaking when he called Connie to bring the first aid kit. "It's that monkey everyone's been posting about online," Connie said, cleaning the scraped calf. "It can't come back here. Those calves could have broken legs, could have piled up and suffocated each other. That pen isn't built for stampedes." Dale called Fish and Wildlife again. Got a recording. Left a message explaining the situation with more frustration than professionalism. Then he called his neighbor. Ray Musgrave had ranched the property east of Dale's for 30 years and kept a cooler head about most things. Ray drove over within the hour, looked at the calf pen, listened to Dale's account, and then said something Dale didn't expect. "Where was Jude when this happened?" Dale blinked. "North pasture, breeding group." "Why?" "Because if that monkey comes back and Jude's anywhere near the calves, you might not have a monkey problem anymore." Dale hadn't considered that. Jude's protective instinct was well documented within the herd. But the calves in the pen were separated from the main group for routine health checks. Jude was a quarter-mile away with the breeding cows. He couldn't have known what was happening. Ray continued. "Move the calves back to the main herd. Let Jude handle security. That bull reads threats better than any guard dog I've ever seen." Dale thought about it. The calves were due to go back anyway. He'd only separated them for weighing and vaccinations, which were done. So that afternoon, he opened the pen gate and let the calves rejoin their mothers in the main pasture. He watched from his truck as the calves found their dams, each one pairing up through the bawling recognition call that cows and calves use. Within an hour, the herd was settled. Mothers and babies together, yearlings on the periphery, and Jude. Jude was doing what Jude always did. Walking the fence line. Slow. Methodical. Checking. Dale noticed something he hadn't seen before. Or maybe he'd seen it and never paid attention. When Jude walked the perimeter, he wasn't just walking. He was smelling the air, pausing at certain points, lifting his massive head and testing the wind from different directions. "He's scenting," Dale said to himself. "He's checking for something." That evening, Dale set up a lawn chair near the barn with a thermos of coffee and his rifle across his lap. Not to use it on the monkey. He wasn't about to discharge a firearm near his herd. But old habits from decades of predator watch died hard. The rifle was comfort. The coffee was strategy. He sat there until 11 at night. Nothing happened. The monkey came back the next morning, 6:15 a.m. Dale was in the barn mixing feed when he heard the herd react. Not a stampede, not panicked bawling. Something different. A collective shift in movement, like a school of fish changing direction at once. He came out of the barn and saw it. The monkey was on the south fence, moving along the top rail toward where the calf pairs were grouped near the water trough. Moving fast. That jerky primate locomotion that cattle can't process. Cows were already pulling their calves close, heads up, bodies tense, and Jude was already moving. Dale had never seen the bull cover ground like that. 1,200 kilograms accelerating from a standing start to what had to be 20 miles an hour in seconds. The ground shook, not a metaphor. Dale felt it through his boot soles, the vibration of that much mass moving at speed across packed Florida soil. Jude didn't bellow, didn't warn, just moved. Straight line from the north end of the pasture toward the south fence where the monkey was approaching the calves. The monkey saw him coming. And here's where things got interesting. The macaque didn't run. It stopped on the fence rail, turned to face the incoming bull, and held its ground. 15 pounds staring down 1,200 kilograms. Rhesus macaques are territorial and confrontational by nature. They challenge animals 50 times their size in the wild. It's how they survive in troops of 100. Bluff and aggression compensate for small bodies. But this wasn't a bluff situation. Jude reached the fence at full speed and slammed his shoulder into the post where the monkey sat. The impact cracked the post at ground level. The monkey launched off the rail like it had been shot from a catapult, airborne for a good 8 feet before grabbing a palmetto trunk and scrambling up. Jude stood at the broken fence post, chest heaving, eyes locked on the monkey in the tree. His hump was up. His muscles were tensed along his entire back. Steam was rising off his hide in the cool morning air. For about 30 seconds, nothing moved. The monkey in the tree, the bull at the fence, the entire herd frozen behind Jude like soldiers behind a tank. Then the monkey screamed. That sharp, chattering macaque alarm call that sounds like a rusty hinge being torn off a barn door. It screamed and showed its teeth. Jude didn't flinch, didn't move, just stood there. A gray wall between the monkey and everything he was responsible for. The monkey climbed higher in the palmetto, moved to an adjacent oak, and disappeared toward the property line. Jude stayed at the fence for 45 minutes, didn't graze, didn't drink, just watched the tree line where the monkey had vanished. Dale stood by the barn with his coffee gone cold in his hand, and realized he'd just watched something most ranchers never see. A bull making a tactical decision, reading a threat, assessing distance, choosing a line of approach, executing a response. Not blind rage, not instinct alone. Something closer to strategy. He called Ray. You were right. What happened? Jude happened. Bull charged the fence where the monkey was sitting and hit it so hard he broke the post. Monkey's gone. Ray laughed. Told you. That bull's been doing perimeter security since the day you put him in that pasture. You just never had a visible threat before to prove it. Dale fixed the fence post that afternoon, used a 6x6 instead of the 4x4 that Jude had shattered, and sunk it 3 feet into the ground with concrete. 2 days passed without incident. Dale started to think the monkey had moved on, found easier territory, maybe headed toward the sugarcane fields west of Clewiston, where there were fewer large animals to deal with. He was wrong. The monkey came back on Saturday, but this time, it was smarter. Instead of approaching from the fence line where Jude could see it coming, the macaque came from the east, through the drainage ditch that ran along the county road. It used the ditch like a covered trench, staying below ground level, invisible to the herd until it popped up inside the pasture near the hay ring where the cows clustered in the morning. Dale didn't see it happen. Connie did, from the upstairs bedroom window where she was folding laundry. Dale. The monkey's inside the pasture. It came through the ditch. Dale grabbed his binoculars from the shelf and looked out the kitchen window. The monkey was moving through the herd. Not at the edges, through the middle, weaving between cows, jumping on backs, pulling at ears, grabbing tails. Pandemonium. Cows were spinning, kicking, bellowing. Calves were scattering. And Jude was on the wrong side of the pasture. Dale watched through binoculars as the bull registered the disturbance. Jude's head came up, his body turned, but he was 400 yards away. A quarter-mile of pasture between him and the chaos. The monkey seemed to know this. It had chosen its entry point specifically to maximize distance from the bull. Whether that was learned behavior from the last encounter or coincidence, Dale couldn't say. But the effect was the same. The monkey had time to cause damage before Jude could respond. Except Jude didn't just charge straight in. Dale watched through binoculars as the bull did something unexpected. Instead of running directly at the disturbance, Jude moved at an angle, cutting toward the drainage ditch, cutting off the monkey's escape route. "He's flanking it," Dale whispered. "He's cutting off the exit." Connie came downstairs. "What?" "The bull. He's not chasing the monkey. He's blocking the ditch. The monkey came in through the ditch and He's positioning himself between the monkey and its way out. Now the monkey was in trouble. It had entered the pasture through the drainage ditch, assuming it could leave the same way. But Jude was now standing in the ditch opening, 1,200 kilograms of gray wall plugging the exit like a cork in a bottle. The monkey would have to go over the fence on the south or west side, both of which were open pasture with no tree cover for 30 yards. The monkey figured this out fast. Primates are smart. It stopped harassing the cows and moved toward the south fence at speed. But the herd did something Dale had never seen before. The cows closed ranks. Not randomly, not in panic. The mothers formed a tight circle with the calves in the center, a defensive formation, like musk oxen facing wolves. They'd seen what Jude was doing, and they were following his lead, containing the threat, channeling the monkey toward the south fence where there was nothing to climb. The monkey hit the south fence at full run and scrambled over the wire, fast little hands and feet gripping the smooth wire in ways that would have shredded human skin. It was over the fence and running across the empty lot toward the county road in seconds. Jude didn't run, trotted to the south fence and watched it go. Then he turned, walked back through the herd, and stopped to sniff each calf individually, one by one, like a sergeant doing roll call after an engagement. Every calf accounted for, none hurt, none missing. Dale put down the binoculars and sat heavily in the kitchen chair. His hands were doing that thing again, the shaking. Connie sat next to him. "You okay?" "I've been ranching cattle for 31 years. I've never seen a bull do that. Not charge, not attack, think." He read the monkey's entry point, blocked the escape, and let the herd do the rest. "That's not instinct, Connie. I don't know what that is. But it's not just instinct." Dale posted about the incident on the Hendry County Cattlemen's Group that night. Didn't exaggerate, just described what he saw. The response surprised him. Ray Musgrave commented first. "That bull of yours has been doing this for years. Most people just don't watch close enough to see it." Beth Torrance, who ran a cow-calf operation north of LaBelle, shared a similar story. Her Brahman bull once herded an alligator away from a pond where calves were drinking by walking slowly toward it until the gator retreated into deeper water. No charge, no aggression, just presence. A retired veterinarian named Ed McCauley posted a long comment about bovine intelligence research happening at universities in Australia and Scotland. Studies showing that cattle form complex social hierarchies, recognize individual faces, solve multi-step problems, and exhibit emotional responses to stress in herd members. The research was clear. Cattle are significantly more intelligent than most people assume, and individual animals can show problem-solving abilities that challenge conventional understanding. Dale read every comment. Then he walked out to the pasture in the dark with a flashlight. Jude was standing at the south fence, right where the monkey had gone over, watching the empty lot beyond. "Still on watch," Dale said quietly. Jude turned his massive head, looked at Dale for a moment, then went back to watching. Dale stood there with him. Two old-timers guarding the same ground for different reasons, but with the same stubbornness. "You're not retiring anytime soon, are you?" Dale said. Not a question. The monkey didn't come back for a week. Dale started to believe it was over. Maybe the macaque had finally found a territory without a 1,200-kilogram security system guarding it. Then his phone rang on a Wednesday afternoon. "Dale, it's Marcus Webb. I'm the regional coordinator for Florida Fish and Wildlife. We've been getting your messages about the macaque, about time. I understand your frustration. We've had 17 complaints from your area in the past month. We're deploying a capture team this week. Baited traps, tranquilizer dart capability. The animal needs to be removed before it causes a serious injury. How soon? Team arrives Friday. We'll set traps on the most active properties. Yours is on the list. I need to ask, any further incidents since your last call?" Dale told him about the two encounters, the fence charge and the flanking maneuver. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Your bull flanked a primate? That's what I saw. Mr. Hendricks, I've been in wildlife management for 22 years. I've seen cattle chase dogs, stand off against coyotes, even bluff charge bears in North Florida. But I've never heard of a bull executing a tactical containment of a primate. That's remarkable. He's a remarkable animal. Friday came. The Fish and Wildlife team, 3 officers with a truck full of cage traps and sedation equipment, set up on Dale's property and 2 neighboring ranches. They baited traps with fruit and peanut butter and settled in to wait. The monkey didn't show on Friday, or Saturday, or Sunday. Monday morning, the team leader told Dale they needed to move to another reported location further south. They'd leave 1 trap on his property and check it daily. Dale understood. They had a whole county to cover with 1 team. That afternoon, the monkey came back. Not to the pasture this time. It came to the barn. Dale was welding a gate hinge in the equipment bay when he heard the clatter. Metal on metal. He walked around the corner and found the monkey sitting on his workbench, going through his tool drawer, pulling out wrenches and screwdrivers and dropping them on the concrete floor one by one. For a few seconds, Dale just stared. There was something almost comical about it. A monkey methodically emptying a tool drawer like a toddler in a kitchen cabinet. Then the monkey picked up a box cutter. Dale's amusement vanished. A rhesus macaque with an open blade is not a joke. Their hands are almost as dexterous as human hands. And this animal was agitated, alone, displaced, probably hungry and confused. Easy there, Dale said softly, not moving. Put that down, little guy. The monkey looked at him, turned the box cutter over in its hands, then dropped it, grabbed a rag off the bench and bolted out the barn door with it like it had just stolen a prize. Dale followed the monkey outside and walked straight into Jude. The bull was standing directly outside the barn door, not charging, not agitated, just standing there, between the barn and the pasture, between the monkey and the herd. The monkey scrambled up the barn's exterior wall using the wood siding gaps as handholds and sat on the roof, clutching the stolen rag. Jude looked up at the monkey on the roof, looked at Dale, then positioned himself at the barn's east side, between the roofline and the direction of the pasture, and stood. Connie came out of the house. Dale, what's going on? Monkey's on the barn roof. Jude's got it contained. That bull is not a border collie, Dale. Tell him that. They waited. The monkey sat on the barn roof for 2 hours. Jude stood below for 2 hours. Neither moved. It was the strangest standoff Dale had ever witnessed, and he'd grown up watching his father stare down land surveyors from the county. Eventually, the monkey climbed down the far side of the barn, dropped to the ground, and ran toward the drainage ditch. Jude didn't chase it, just watched it go, then walked back to the herd. That night, Dale sat on the porch with Connie watching the sunset over the sugarcane fields. I'm not selling him, Dale said. Who said anything about selling him? I've been thinking about it. He's 11. His breeding days are numbered. A younger bull would give us better calf crops. But I can't. I watch that animal, and I see something I can't put a price on. Connie leaned back in her chair. Then don't. The Fish and Wildlife team caught the monkey 3 days later, in a trap on the Weber property 2 miles south. The macaque was sedated, examined, and transferred to a primate sanctuary in Gainesville. Lab results showed it was a male, approximately 4 years old, likely a disperser from the Silver River population that had been traveling alone for several months. Dale heard the news from Marcus Webb by phone. Monkeys caught. Your herd's safe. But Mr. Hendricks, I told your story to our behavioral ecology team. They want to come out and observe your bull. Would you be open to that? Observe him how? Non-invasive. Cameras in the pasture, GPS collar if you'd allow it, behavioral documentation. What you described, the flanking, the escape route blocking, the post-incident calf checking, that's publishable research. There's real scientific interest. Dale thought about it for 2 days. Talked to Connie, talked to Ray. talked to his daughter Shelby, who was studying agricultural science at the University of Florida, and got so excited about the idea she drove home that weekend to make her case in person. Dad, this could contribute to actual research on bovine cognition. Jude isn't just a good bull. He's evidence that cattle intelligence is way beyond what the industry acknowledges. If researchers document his behavior, it could change how people think about livestock. Dale looked at his daughter, saw the same fire in her eyes that he remembered having at her age, when cattle were still a wonder instead of a business. All right, tell them they can come, but nobody puts a hand on that bull without my say-so. And if he doesn't want a collar, he doesn't get a collar. I'm not stressing him for science. The research team arrived in October. 2 behavioral ecologists from the University of Florida and a graduate student specializing in bovine social dynamics. They set up cameras at 6 points around the pasture and asked Dale's permission to observe for 3 months. What they documented over those 3 months went beyond what anyone expected. Jude didn't just protect the herd from external threats. He managed internal conflicts. When 2 cows competed aggressively for a feeding position at the hay ring, Jude would walk between them, slowly, calmly, and stand there until both cows moved apart. No contact, no aggression, just presence. When a first calf heifer struggled during birth and the calf wasn't nursing properly, Jude stood near the pair for 6 hours, keeping other animals at a distance until the calf finally latched. The researchers noted that Jude's proximity seemed to reduce the heifer's stress levels based on her behavior patterns. When a section of fence went down during a storm and the herd had access to the county road, Jude positioned himself in the gap and didn't move until Dale arrived to repair it. 3 hours in the rain, blocking the opening with his body. The lead researcher, Dr. Amara Washington, told Dale after the first month that Jude's behavioral profile was the most complex she'd ever documented in a domestic bull. He's not just responding to stimuli, she explained over coffee in Dale's kitchen. He's anticipating problems. He monitors the herd's emotional state and intervenes before conflicts escalate. He adjusts his position based on threat assessment, and the monkey incidents, the flanking behavior, that demonstrates spatial reasoning and predictive modeling that we typically associate with predators, not prey animals. So he's smart. He's beyond smart. She paused, looking for the right word. He's a leader, in the truest sense, not dominant through aggression, effective through awareness. Dale nodded slowly. I could have told you that 11 years ago. The research paper was published the following spring. Behavioral complexity and protective strategy in a mature Brahman-cross bull. It cited Jude's monkey encounters as evidence of adaptive tactical response in domestic cattle, suggesting that individual animals can develop sophisticated threat management behaviors that go far beyond simple fight-or-flight responses. Dale didn't read the paper. Shelby summarized it for him over Sunday dinner, and he said, "Good. Maybe now people will stop treating cattle like they're stupid. Jude is 12 now. His joints are worse. He moves slower in the mornings. Dale bought a younger bull last spring, a 3-year-old Brangus named Cal, who handles the breeding duties. But Jude stays in the main pasture, full retirement, best grass, first access to the hay ring, and every morning, without fail, Jude walks the fence line. Slow, stiff, 1,200 kilograms of aging gray muscle doing what he's done for 11 years, checking the perimeter, testing the wind, watching the tree line. Cal, the young bull, follows him sometimes. Walks behind Jude along the fence like a rookie following a veteran through a patrol. Dale watches them from the barn and wonders if the old bull is teaching the young one, passing something down that can't be bred into an animal, only learned. Connie asked him once, "What happens when Jude can't walk the fence anymore?" Dale was quiet for a long time. "Then I'll walk it for him." Last month, a new report came in on the Hendry County Facebook group. Monkey sighting near the sugarcane processing plant west of Clewiston. Different animal, probably. The sanctuary confirmed that the original macaque was still in their facility and doing well. Dale read the post, looked out the window at Jude standing at the south fence, and smiled. Come on then. Jude didn't hear him, or maybe he did and didn't care. He was busy. He had a fence to walk.